I gotta tell you a story about a couple of guys. We got a show about bikes in a garage. Don't ask me why. Okay, ask me why. We're the Handsome Asian Motorcycle Club.
Well, we talk about life and things that we like. I tell you right now, you'll have a laugh. Don't ask me how. Okay, ask me how. We're the Handsome Asians Motorcycle Club.
I got gum on my pants and a smile on my face. Come on, everybody, let's rock this place. I sure would be delighted with your company. So come on and do the Handsome Asians rock with me.
We got Paolo and Lou, Frank and Eric too. We got tons to do, and we're gonna share it all with you.
I'm taking a shit.
We're the Handsome Asians Motorcycle Club. Say what? We're the Handsome Asians Motorcycle Club. One more time. We're the Handsome Asians Motorcycle Club.
Northern California has always been a great place to be on two wheels because of the great roads, beautiful scenery, and great year-round weather. Today we visit a unique group with a unique mission. We met the recycled motorcycle. We met the recycled garage Santa Cruz. We met these guys at the Dirtbag Challenge a few months ago. We came down to guest it on their podcast, and they came up to see us at our garage as well.
9 years ago, I started opening my garage to help other people work on their bikes, fix bikes up. The theme is to keep old bikes on the road, and by helping people do so. And from that grew this community. There are people who come to us just because they can't afford a mechanic to work on their bike, or they just need some advice, or in some cases, I would get free donated bikes and they would adopt it, fix it up, and they would have a bike that they have fixed up. But then we also started getting people like, well, actually, all of them learn to ride from the garage and have become excellent riders and mechanics, and it's now like a lifestyle. So that's an example of people who came, who were brought in by other people, or in Kat's case, she was seeking out something new in her life and thought she would try motorcycling.
I actually came across an ad on Craigslist for
hydroponics
garage sale, and it was Liza's ad because they were trying to ship out some of their old parts that nobody needed anymore. I was looking for something to make memories with. I was recently at that point diagnosed with a semi-terminal heart condition, and was kind of given a limiter on my life and going, well, I better make it worth it.
Right.
So I started looking at all the things that I was always told, no, that's dangerous. And I was like, well, motorcycles. I've always wanted to ride motorcycles. So I started browsing Craigslist for a cheap motorcycle, and then found that ad and ended up coming around and got a bike within like a week and a half after, and was taught to ride in the recycle garage parking lot.
So you learned to do some of the work on your bike yourself as well.
Yes.
Nice.
Well, yeah. I'm not a mechanical person. After taking apart a bike umpteen times, I can pick things up. But it's more of just a repetition thing.
Right. No formal training. You were just talking about welding earlier. I mean, was that kind of one of the hobbies you picked up because of motorcycling, or just
Yeah.
what sparked that interest?
I just really wanted to build to make my own exhaust for my bike, and it suddenly turned into I'm getting certified as a TIG welder, and I am getting hit up for other people's exhausts now, and it's really cool. What's more metal than like melting metal together?
Sure,
and, like mastering the elements. So
right.
I was like, yes.
Mike, do you want to speak about your experience, or how did you start coming around the garage?
Well, I started dating my boyfriend Charlie in November of 2015, and so a couple months later, he rides motorcycles, and he has been coming to the recycle garage for a couple of years now. And so he finally convinced me to get on the back of his bike, and then after a couple months I was finally ready to be introduced to the motorcycle friends. And those were the important friends. And so I came to the recycle garage and he wasn't there, and so I introduced myself and I was like, "Hi, is Charlie anywhere here?" And Liza was like, "Yeah, he'll be back soon. Go sit over there." So I sat for a while and then slowly was introduced to people, and then started, after 9 months of riding on the back of his bike, he kicked me off, so I was like, fine, I'll get my own. And so I've been riding for a little over 6 months now.
When I was younger, I was really interested in motorcycles. My mom's whole thing, and his whole thing was always like, oh, if you can build a motorcycle, you can ride one, because they didn't want me riding motorcycles. And then I met Liza when one of my mom's ex-boyfriends was like trading a scooter for an engine of hers, and I just kind of started hanging out, and she had me take it out the trash and just like watching, and she basically gave me this like old 50cc kinetic moped and was like, if you can make it run, it's yours.
I like what the fix was on that. It was
a Mountain Dew can to hold in the air filter. It stayed like that until it got stolen.
Wow.
I ran it for a long time.
So Jim, were you okay with her learning to ride or being around the motorcycle culture? Or?
Yeah, so there's a more of a story to it than that. So Jake introduced me to motorcycling. So I've been riding for about 3 years now. I grew up in a family where motorcycling was taboo. You know, you're not going to ride that. No, not going to happen. So I didn't ride growing up. And when Jake was like 13, she's like, "Hey, Dad, I want to learn how to ride motorcycles." And if you know Jake, you know she charges pretty hard. You know, she's a water girl, she's a lifeguard. And I'm like, no, right? Because that's all I knew is, no, you can't. It's unsafe. And what's a dad going to say, right? Well, now I know better. But so I said no, and she goes, "Well, whatever. I'm going to ride them when I'm going to turn 18 someday." And I'm like, you know what? That's true. She's like, "I'm going to turn 18 someday." And I could tell by the sound in her voice that she was going to ride motorcycles. And at the same time, she created on her own this connection with Liza and the community that Liza created at Recycle Santa Cruz, and started hanging out at the garage. And one Sunday, I'm going down to the beach on my little cruiser, you know, like Bebop from Friday, except not that fit. And and I'm like, I'll just roll by the garage, because I know Jake, that was her thing. And last thing she needed was me in her space at this point in her life. I'm like, that's her thing, let her have that. But I'm like, I'll roll by and check it out. So I go down the street, and I look over at the garage, and I'm like, oh, there's Jake. Oh, there she is on her moped. And I'm like, oh, she's got like a 24-inch, 3-pound dildo in her hand.
We've all met the dildo.
Yeah. Well, that's another story. But anyway, especially for anyway. So yeah, she's standing with this thing in her hand. It's all blah blah blah, and I'm all, "Hey, Jake." She's all, "Hi." But at that moment, I knew everything was just fine. So how did I end up there? So yeah, I'm like, duh, that looks fun. And so Jake had to take the MSF class to get a permit, license, everything else. So I'm like, cool, let's do it together. And so we took it together. Picked up a Nighthawk 150 or 250 was the first one, and felt like a 150. And but we put like 1,500 miles on that thing, like that. And then I stepped up to the FC6, and now we got like 5 motorcycles.
Part of it is I feel like in the motorcycle community, I don't know about all of you, but there was 10, 15 years that I was just a solo rider. Just kind of discovering the community myself. And I feel like as a community, we should be more responsible for our own. And by taking people in and teaching them, showing them the right movies to watch and getting them in the right gear and showing them the great roads and helping them buy that new bike. And it just betters the whole community when we do that.
You did mention that, Emma is an actual certified motorcycle mechanic. Can you explain how you came into this whole thing?
And I like to say she's never been this quiet this long. That was a record.
She stole me.
I did.
Liza actually stole me.
Her.
During the week, Tuesday through Friday, I earned my living as a motorcycle mechanic at a large multi-franchise dealership. At the weekends, I curate and do restoration work for a local classic motorcycle museum. One unsuspecting Sunday, I think, was it a Sunday or a Saturday?
Saturday.
It was a Saturday.
I remember like yesterday.
A group of reprobates show up at the museum. And I kind of left them to it. Because when you first encounter the Misfits, It can be a little intimidating.
Jarring.
And this is a very, very quiet museum, and it's and of course I just leave them to it. And so of course Liza, being Liza, starts spouting on some nonsense about exhaust pipes on Triumph, which was completely wrong. So I step in.
Is there a bus around here?
She steps in,
But
and
it-
all of a sudden, she became a misfit.
And
That's how it happens.
within probably 30 seconds.
So you hear the misinformation, and you just have to jump in.
And I have to jump in and set everybody straight, which is what I do, darling. And but within a couple of minutes.
It was not misinformation.
It was-
crossovers on the British bike,
Yes.
and we were asking what the purpose of the crossovers on the headers were.
Yeah, just to keep noise down.
Well, it wasn't misinformation. We were curious, and Miss Emma just steps right. Well, let me tell you
Well,
all
let me
about
tell
it.
you.
Well,
So-
I have to interject because you have to set the scene. So Miss Emma, is sitting in like this big rocking chair, is this woman in a flowery dress with her mani-pedi rocking, and these pearls around her. And I remember it distinctly because me and Zach were like, "What's this crossover for?" And she goes, "You hear out of the blue, you hear." "Oh, I can tell you," and you look up, and here's you in your
School
sundress
marm
and your
shows up.
sandals and your little hat going, and the education started.
No, but the way it works is the rule is we don't work on your bike for you.
Right.
If you want it done cheap and you want to learn how to do it while you're there, it may take a long time.
The more you know about your bike, the more you know about what's happening underneath you as you're getting down the road, the better rider you are.
We all love riding because of the freedom, and we all love wrenching because you are empowered.
It's a great point of entry into the motorcycle community. I haven't been riding that long. I've only been riding for about 10 years. And even for myself, it was a little intimidating because, you don't know anybody.
Right.
You don't know what are stupid questions to ask. I mean, everyone's walked into a dealership and like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't know anything about motorcycles, but luckily I had my brother who had been riding for a while, and I had some friends that had been riding for a while. So I was kind of initiated that way. Now, for a female perspective, I would imagine it's a little even harder than just the average guy. Do you guys want to speak to that, your experiences of is there any kind of discrimination or are there any pluses to being a female in the motorcycle community?
They've got stories.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
so
let's
many
hear a
stories.
couple.
Well,
Mike, you wanna start?
this week actually, I had an experience. I went down 2 weeks ago. It was just a little tiny thing, but I bent my handlebars, and so I had to order a new set. And so I went to a local motorcycle shop to order these new bars, and gave them. We didn't just tell them the exact bike it was for. We gave them the bike, and then we also gave them the exact dimensions we were looking for. And so after a week, they told us, okay, they're going to be in on Monday. So I went in Monday, and sorry, they're not there. And so I left my number so they could call me, and they never did. So the next day I went in, and I asked, like, hey, I am here for my bars again. And the guy was just constantly, your bars that we ordered, they came flat, so the dimensions that you gave us were completely wrong. And also, even though we knew that they obviously weren't, and you should have your boyfriend come in and get those for you. You should have your boyfriend order them online for you. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm gonna go do that on my own, because I was really surprised at how just rude they were with that. And it was, oh, have your boyfriend help you with that. Have your boyfriend, constantly, over and over again. And it's just ridiculous. Like,
Right.
I can't put on a pair of handlebars by myself.
Right, it's really dismissive, it sounds like.
Yeah.
They just naturally assume that you aren't capable.
Exactly. And
Or
I've been
know
there.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I've been there for a while. I go there for, I did my forks not too long ago, and so I got my fork seals and my fork oil there. I got my brake pads there, and so they know that I work on my bike and that I have a bike, but as soon as it comes to handlebars, that's the line.
I was just going to say to any female riders that are watching this, a lot of the stories you hear us tell are stories about men being complete and utter douchebags to us, but the vast majority of riders
Yeah.
are absolutely lovely people.
Yeah.
And if you walk up to them, and like our stories all started with like, I hung out and took out trash for like almost a year, and like Kat was super timid, Micah was super timid. If we hadn't had a place like the Recycle to kind of blossom into riders, we wouldn't be here, like they already said. but you don't need a place like that. Most riders that you walk up to and ask them about their bike, they will tell you all about it and tell you where you can go to learn more.
I always pick the scariest looking dude in a group of them and go up to him because odds are he's the one that is going to be the teddy bear.
That is an option.
But yeah, largest, roundest, biggest beard, and you're like most studs on the vest. You're good to go.
But women, please keep writing. Please start writing. Please support your other ladies in writing. And guys, don't be douchebags.
I could tell from all the banter here and all the joking around, and there's also like community. I don't want to go as far as family, but definitely community and some lifelong friendships that you guys developed here, I would imagine. Speak to about the things you guys do. Are you hanging out, or do you guys go to shows together? I mean,
if I can pick up on something that Liza, or you mentioned, and Liza agreed with, this is an extremely diverse community, and it's an incredibly diverse group of people.
The people in the garage are as diverse as the motorcycles. I mean, like at my house, I have a couple different bikes. It's just like everybody else here. So we've got cruisers, sport bikes, dual sports, motards. It's everything. But that's something that I don't find with most people I see on the streets. Besides a wave when you're riding by, a lot of people will be, not so inclusive. The only time you get made fun of is when you fuck shit up. That's about it,
Go ahead.
If you come in with a new bike, you might get a rubber dick on it, That's about it.
What is it with the dildos and dicks?
I don't know. My wife and I bought a few of them for Christmas and brought them, because the other ones were really dirty and we wanted to bring some clean dicks in, but they wound up getting real dirty, like within 2 days.
The one thing we have in common, the single thing we have in common, is the love of motorcycles. That's it. It doesn't matter whether you're male, female, gay, straight, trans, cisgendered, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Do you love motorcycles? Join us, please.
Is there a fee? Are there membership dues? Or is this all just because you just want to do it?
No, and people ask, like, well, what about, like, don't your tools get broken or disappear? Yeah, they do. But I've had more donated than have gone missing or stolen. And people donate bikes, they donate gear. We have a free gear exchange. People donate gear they're not using. And when somebody shows up in improper gear, I take them into the side room. I go, here, this jacket looks like it'll fit, or here are these boots. And it's so nice to be able to give. So I get so much more than what I risk by letting people use my stuff.
She says it, but she's modest about it. So she did a bike blowout a little while ago. Like, we had a bunch of bikes in the tent, like, whatever. Mm-hmm. So $500 a bike, and you sold what, like 3 or 4 bikes, something like that. And most of the people that buy a $500 bike are young people. They got no money. I mean, that kind of a thing. So these guys would show up, no boots, no gear. Liza would sell them a running, more or less bike, fully disclosed. Hey, here's the issues with it, just so you know you're not buying a daily ride. You're going to be wrenching on this. Are you okay with that? Yes. But then they would leave with a helmet, with a jacket, with boots. We're talking like $500-600 worth of gear alone. Yeah, it's used and yeah, it's been donated. But what I like about that is it leverages the concept. You're taking a young person. This is their introduction into motorcycling, a community that's generous and caring. So hopefully as they get older and they get more involved into riding, that they share that fundamental core concept of being generous, being a helping community that wants to help keep each other safe regardless of who you are.
And the only kind of dues that I like people to pay in a roundabout way is if I help somebody out and they get themselves down the road on their bike, I always say, come back for a couple of weeks and help out somebody else.
When you get a group of people sitting around a garage, people are sharing stories and talking about this and like, hey, did you see that new BMW? Or, did you hear so-and-so went down? And I thought it'd be really cool if we could just bottle that and share it with the world. Hence the podcast. We've done a little over 200 episodes.
Were there any notable guests? Any one of them stand out to you?
Me, darling. Me!
We've had AMA Hall of Famers, we've had CEOs, we've had movie stars, we've had Guinness record holders, and just a guy riding from Canada to Mexico. You know, collectors, you name it. I mean, anyone with a passion for motorcycles has a story. On a regular interview with one, maybe two people, you can control it. When we've got a room of 14 people, it just turns into
It's
this.
got a life unto itself, yeah.
So getting back to some of your previous guests on the
Yeah.
podcast,
Yes.
have any of them been particularly good looking, or you know?
I'm thinking of those three cats that came down from South San Francisco. You know, who are they?
Oh, Brodo GP, the podcast.
No, I was thinking the handsome Indians.
Hopefully what you're getting from this, you know, we talk about our diversity and wrenching and taking people out to see movies and going shows. And we ride dirt bikes and cruisers and street bikes and supermoto, and we do long distance rides, and I mean everything. And after this, we're going to go see flat track racing. But the thing I want to encourage people to do, I'm always telling everyone, this isn't special to just where we are. This exists because we love motorcycles. And I am always encouraging anyone out there, if you have the space, and we rent in a parking lot, you know, if you have the space, if you have the tools, and you have a day to dedicate, I encourage people to open up their garage and do what I'm doing. And when I first started out, I was helping one or two people at a time. And it was just word of mouth. But like the first guy who came, who didn't know me but had been referred, he blew the engine on his bike. He lived in an apartment and he had nowhere to work on it. So I let him use my garage and tools. He got the manual and he did it himself, and I just guided him. And he was like, thanks. Like he couldn't have done it otherwise. And I tell people, you should do this. I was building my own bikes by myself in my garage. I had the tools. Guess what? It's so much more fun when you have people around.
It might be Recycle Santa Cruz.
Is it Recycle Garage Santa Cruz? The official name of the co-op, or is it just Recycle Santa Cruz?
It's just like, well, you know what? On Google Maps, it's Recycle Garage.
You can find the Recycle Garage Santa Cruz on Facebook. To check out the Motorcycle and Misfits podcast, go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com.
In the past, Icon's been very supportive of all our projects by sending us gear to raffle off at events. They've even sponsored our screenings. So as a thank you, we wanted to review one of their products. You want to tell them what this is?
Yes, this is the Icon Alliance Lucifer helmet. As you can see, it's pretty devilish looking. It's got the eyes, and it's got the scary teeth, and it's got horns that come all the way up to the top here.
And it's called Lucifer, as in it's really furry looking.
Yeah, and it's got
spelled Lucifur, as in fur.
Oh, that's right. And it's got the scary little monster in the back as well, if you want to show that off. Now, this helmet is DOT approved and ECU rated, I believe.
ECE.
ECE, sorry. It's got the Icon Pro lock system on it. As you can see here, it stays in place pretty well. Comes in at 3 pounds 9 ounces, so it's
yeah, it's pretty light.
Pretty light.
I like it.
How much did you say this helmet was?
This one comes in at $200.
And what does the non-graphic one come in?
The all black one is around $150.
Oh wow! So for about $200, which isn't too expensive for a helmet, we all know they can get a lot more than that. It's got a pretty robust venting system. I mean, you got the super vents in the back that start at the top and they ride all the way to the back, and you got the controls here. You got your standard chin vent.
This one
here.
really helped.
Yeah. So you got your standard chin bar here, and then you got some intake vents on the side, which for $200, I mean, that's pretty good features for a helmet like this. I don't know if I'm going to share my opinion on the graphic. It's for me, or maybe more mature riders. I'm on the backside of 40, so It might not be fitting of someone like me. I mean, to me, the helmet is a little reminiscent of Animal of the Muppets, just because of teeth. But
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
But anyway, but I don't know. I mean, that's not to say that it's not a cool graphic. It's
I don't know.
just
I would totally wear this helmet. I have these teeth decals on my bike.
Oh,
that is true. That we have seen. Anyone that's seen your bike would agree.
My bike's a little douchey. So we can review this helmet and talk about it all we want, but really, the test for a helmet is how it protects you when you crash. And since I'm not going to put this on and intentionally crash, I thought the next best thing would be to put it on and you guys can whack me over the head with things.
Well, we don't want to scratch it though.
Well, where's the bag that came with it? So I was thinking I could put this on and put the bag over it to protect it, and then you guys can put it down.
Holy shit!
Ready?
Dude, what the fuck are you doing? What does that even test?
I just want to see if it's waterproof. look at this. It's about the shape of a head.
That's pretty good.
I don't think we'll be cooking with these much anytime soon.
Paolo, are you sure you're okay?
Where are you going this time?
Who says I'm going?
You know what to do, Emma. It's that time.
You want to come with me?
Can't.
I shouldn't ask. You never say yes.
Get the hell out of here.
Hey! Where you headed?
Nowhere special.
Come on, I'll take you there.
If you like what you saw, click here to subscribe or leave a comment below. And make sure to check out our movie, which recently won the People's Choice Award at the Motorcycle Film Festival in Brooklyn, New York, at vimeo.com/ondemand/dirtbag2.